all-new 4th generation.
This is Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. Join our growing show, The Global Sunday. We stream live on YouTube every Sunday, 11:30 a.m. for American MT time. African time, 8:30 p.m. every Sunday. We host special guests. We give you latest news, global news, and the entertainment news. Click the link below if you want to find out more. Thumbs up and some hearts. Cheers.
Hi, my name is Ashley DeChristina. I go by Ash. Make time for what you love and for the people you love. Thank you for watching Global Sundays with Lungani.
What up, world? My name is Jesse Villegas. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. Currently, I reside in Prescott, Arizona. I own and operate a coffee shop called The Porch. Work hard and be kind. You are watching Global Sunday with Lungani.
For those that don't know me, I'm a singer. I'm a singer who loves God. You know, I'm that singer who loves God. I sing with Him every time I ever sing. So I'm that singer that tells a story.
With anything in life, there will be challenges, there will be hurdles and stumbling blocks, but I honestly think to make it, you need perseverance, number one. Secondly, you need dedication.
Everything paid for, it's on me. You ain't gotta stress cause you're VIP. Penthouse suite, fresh white sheets. Whatever you like, girl, it's your treat. Shotgun in a guinea. Hit the beach in your tiny bikini. Rickshaw rides, cow skin vibe. Swim with the sharks, baby, it's alright. Girl, you're looking fly today. In every kind of way. Muscally falsetto. Let me take you to the ghetto. You could be my tidal wave. Take me away. Girl, what you say? It's a beautiful day. Welcome to Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Welcome to Durban. Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Pop champagne, no pity. The sun never sets in my city. We can do shots, yacht life vibes, oyster box, you decide. Life's different near the water. Anything you want, you can order. Copter rides over the ocean. We in slow motion. Girl, you're looking fly today. In every kind of way. Muscally falsetto. Let me take you to the ghetto. You could be my tidal wave. Take me away. Girl, what you say? It's a beautiful day. Welcome to Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Welcome to Durban. Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City, Durban City.
some applause, straight from the top. Ready or not?
Ready? No, I got on my bando, no. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street tryna get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hundreds, no. Making money, oh no.
Singamathenolimi iyo awethi nasobabili siyathandana singamathenolimi iyo awethi nasobabili siyathandana singamelona awuyelona awuyelona iyo awethi nasobabili siyathandana singamathenolimi iyo awethi nasobabili siyathandana njengamathenolimi we from isuka lenjalo ngiqala ukukubona ngavele ngasangana ngathi uye lona umaqondana wami angiyasifela ngawe yabona umuntu akunemalening thina amashada siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening shade photos vala marketing ay thina amashada siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening yabona umuntu akunemalening shade photos vala marketing yabona umuntu akunemalening thina amashada siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening shade photos vala marketing ay thina amashada siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening yabona umuntu akunemalening shade photos vala marketing uyalona uyalona Mashata siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening shade photos vala marketing ay thina mashata siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening yabona umuntu akunemalening shade photos vala marketing yabona umuntu akunemalening thina mashata siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening shade photos vala marketing ay thina mashata siye Paris njengopixel silinyamening yabona umuntu akunemalening shade photos vala marketing uyalona
Hello everyone, welcome to the Global Sunday Show. My name is Lungani Gwala, and you know what? This is the first show in 2022, and already we are blessed with the snow. Let me tell you something, today is gonna be fantastic. We have a special guest all the way from Africa. She's the African storyteller, and she's the history of Africa. You know what? I just want to send a shout out to Zeze, a young girl who is 9 years old, and she's She's a brilliant singer. We had a conversation with her earlier on Inanda FM. It was so amazing. And secondly, I want to send shout outs to people who are part of our new project called The Articulation. And shout out to National Art Council for sponsoring the program. So you know what? Let me open up the show with this beautiful video, and I will see you guys on the other side. Again, happy New Year!
To arrive in style, first you have to arrive.
Don't understand what's going on here.
The all-new 4th generation.
This is Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. Join our growing show, The Global Sunday. We stream live on YouTube every Sunday, 11:30 a.m. for American MT time. African time, 8:30 p.m. every Sunday. We host special guests. We give you latest news, global news, and the entertainment news. Click the link below if you want to find out more. Thumbs up and some hearts. Cheers.
Hi, my name is Ashley Christina. I go by Ash. Make time for what you love and for the people you love. Thank you for watching Global Sundays with Lungani.
What up, world? My name is Jesse Villegas. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. Currently, I reside in Prescott, Arizona. I own and operate a coffee shop called The Porch. Work hard and be kind. You are watching Global Sunday with Lungani.
For those that don't know me, I'm a singer. I'm a singer who loves God. You know, I'm that singer who loves God. I sing with Him every time I ever sing. So I'm that singer that tells a story.
With anything in life, there will be challenges, there will be hurdles and stumbling blocks, but I honestly think to make it, you need perseverance, number one. Secondly, you need dedication.
Bathi khuluma nabo mfana batshe sikhamba kanjani ulungani khona lo aka umfana kaChocolate Kid Leo bese bayakhala bonke bathi pu 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 besho ngamavoice amancane. Welcome to the Global Sunday Show. Oh man. It's the new year. It's the new year. Hey, listen. This is the very first show in 2022, and we have, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you who we have yet. I just wanna say welcome to the show, and it's gonna be so amazing. It's a Sunday, and as you saw earlier on, I showed you the snow, right? We have a snow. It's a beautiful weekend, but the moment of truth is gonna come once I introduce my co-hosts, because we're gonna be talking about a little bit about how was you know, how the week treated us and stuff like that. New Year's, what did everybody do at New Year's Eve, and you know, all this kind of stuff that I don't want to talk about because it's cold. It's cold. Look at me. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold. Listen, welcome if you're watching on Diverse TV. Welcome if you're watching on Facebook. Welcome if you're on Instagram. Welcome if you're on Facebook. Welcome if you're on YouTube. Please drop a comment below. We're gonna be talking to someone amazing. And I'm going to be introducing you to someone. Yeah, she's not new. She's been like, you know, in behind the scenes. But today she's going to be on screen. So please, please, please show her some love. Show her some love and some encouragement. She's a young lady. And she's the youngest in the panel, by the way, of the Global Sunday. But I cannot wait. There's a lot of things to talk about today, and please engage. Drop the comments below. You know, we always have some surprises for you guys, and if you engage with us, who knows? You know, we might, you know, do something special for you. But you know, let me just not be talk too much. For once, you know, let me not be impampe. I see you at home. You're calling me impampe already because I'm talking to especially people from South Africa. Guys, welcome to the Global Sunday Show and happy New Year. Let me introduce my co-host. I remember the last time I was supposed to say co-host and I said guest. And that video is on Instagram. You should go on Instagram, Diverse Global Studios, and check that video out. Oh my God, they threw punches on my face. They call me a guest for entire show. The entire show they call me a guest. I was like, you know what? I deserve it. I deserve it. Yeah, I can see people are there already. Steven! Hey, where's Steven, my thought? Steven is from Dubai. He's a friend of mine from Dubai. Or is this a different Steven? Hey, yeah. You know what? I'm going to be talking to you guys later on. But yeah, keep dropping those comments below. Let me introduce my co-host all the way from Limpopo, South Africa. We have Adele all the way from USA, Arizona. We have Mr. Laden. But you know what? Hang on a second. Let me play you just one video that shows what Global Sunday is all about. It's going to be like 60 seconds. And then when we come back, I give you that surprise. Enjoy. Lungani Kuala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. This is the Global Sunday. Cheers.
She rolling with me. Now she know my whip. They rolling on me. Now I'm on wrist. I got bangs, lights, ready or not. We coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not. I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not.
Ready? No, I got on my bando, no. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm cashing up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
That's what's up. You know what I will do today, and because we're like 5 minutes late, right? What I'll do something that has never been done before. I am going to introduce the co-host and I'm going to introduce the guest at the very same time. Give me a round of applause. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's New Year. It's 2022. Bigger things are coming. Yeah. So let me do this again. Drum roll, please. All the way from Limpopo, Adele, Limpopo, South Africa, and all the way from Arizona, USA, Mr. Laden, and all the way, wait a second. She's from KZN. I call her an African queen. T-loh in the building. Welcome to the Global Sunday Show. Oh man, yeah, I didn't mean to end the show yet, but welcome to the Global Sunday Show. How's it, everyone?
Hello.
Mr. Laden, you go first.
2022 is a new world. Thank goodness. Welcome, everybody. It is so good to see you. And, you know, if you've watched this show, just to talk a little bit about our guest, T-loh, everybody on this panel, everybody in our world really is all about telling the story in different ways. I do it in dance. Claire Larman from Australia does it in drama. Mr. Pike does it in music. Then we have Pipo Tafel from Germany who does it with video and film and photography. Everybody here, and we will be introducing Adele, who is one of our beloved ambassadors. She has gone around and gotten people watching this show to the point that the big guys at Google have, contacted the show and said, hey, you got a lot of people watching. So Adele's done a great job. We always start off our week with telling how the week was. And my week was profound. On the 23rd of December, my mother died. And I am a lucky, lucky, lucky person because I'm 70. And I had a living parent until I was 70. So this is not sad. It is life. It is reality. But there is, of course, a great deal of feeling when you lose your mother. And tomorrow is her funeral. So my week this week has been about adjusting to this new relationship into the world. Lots of texts and phone calls and Zoom calls and organizing food and flowers and all of the stuff that you don't want to even think about that, but you got to do it. To you young people out there who are young and have your parents in your lives, you won't realize till you're my age and they're not there or whatever age, how valuable that is. Funerals are for the living. Life is for everybody, as long as they're living. Spend time with your parents. Listen to them, talk to them, know them. Show yourself to them so they can show themselves to you. And with that, I am going to be entering 2022 as a kind of a free agent, and it's going to be a big adjustment. My mother was an incredible international fine artist. Before I was born, she already had her artworks displayed in galleries and museums around the world. And as I grew up, as a matter of fact, all the way to 2019, when she was 94 years old, she was doing solo artist shows and group shows and installations in museums all over the world, all the way to age 94. And she did that, and she raised 6 children. And she was the first woman to get a master's degree in the state of Florida. And she was one of the people who helped form a thing that was called Fair Housing Equal Opportunity, which later in the 60s became the Civil Rights Act. She was one of the people who got the old group that was called the League of Women Voters that started in the 1920s as the first non-sovereign nation as a member of the United Nations. And the very first presidential debates on television in America were hosted by that group. And my mother was one of the people instrumental in that. We're talking 1944, she's fighting for women's rights and for civil rights. And believe me, as a child growing up with parents who were doing that, we got a lot of bricks with rags wrapped around them on fire thrown through the front window of our house. And my mother was a pioneer. As I look at our panel, just the fact that we're multiracial is part of the product of those pioneers' lives. The fact that we've got our guest is a woman who is a woman very, very well known and very accomplished. When my mother was a girl, when my mother was your age, They couldn't vote. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't go to school. So this has been a very profound week for me. And I wanted to share that. I was encouraged, some would say arm twisted to do that, but to get it out. So I am not sad. I am feeling the loss, but I am also celebrating. And so from there, let's go on to Adele, our incredible ambassador, youngest person ever on the panel. How are you doing? How was your week, Adele?
Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome. My week was actually good, and now that I just listened to what you were saying about mothers, I just realized that I miss my mom. My mom is in Gauteng. I didn't spend Christmas or New Year with her, and I just want to go back to Gauteng right now, and show her some love and just be with her and have fun. Yeah.
Did you enjoy your New Year?
I did. I did enjoy my New Year. It was great. I can't complain.
Well, in that case, then let me introduce our special guest for today, T-loh. T-loh. You know what now? You are now part of the introduction of the host. Now we're gonna ask you, before you tell everybody who is T-loh, before we get into our interview, now tell us, how was your week? How was your week?
Listening to everybody's descriptions of their own weeks, it's been eventful. It's been eventful in good and bad ways. Christmas was very busy. We were at home. Well, that was last week actually. But New Year's, I was tired. I was flat. I actually didn't even see the year crossing over. I fell asleep at about 10, and my husband stayed and prayed through the transition, and now we're here and we're starting 2022 off with a bang. We have also lost a family member. We're laying her to rest on Friday, but I'm so encouraged and so inspired listening to Mr. Laden speak about his mother like that, and just all the impact that she had on not just the lives of those she directly had contact with or interests in, but like so many people across the board. We are beneficiaries of people who gave themselves to such a meaningful cause, and I'm really, really hoping she's in a better place. And I'm thankful that you are choosing, and that you're able to choose to celebrate her rather than get into that dark emotional place that sometimes death takes us to.
Thank you.
I know that we are going to be doing a tribute to your mom, Mr. Laden, next week. I just want to welcome you, T-loh, and we know you as this amazing future of Africa. But for a person who's watching the show for the first time, and they would like to understand who exactly we have in the panel, because we've been making all this noise and all these posts saying that you're going to be with us tonight or today. So who is T-loh?
T-loh is a Zulu Lioness. She's a bold Zulu Lioness, sometimes by faith, because circumstance can kick you in the teeth. But a lioness she remains. She's a Nubian gypsy. She is a lover, not a fighter. No beef, only chicken.
That's fantastic.
She's an African storyteller who uses whatever means of storytelling is available at the time and is appropriate to the story being told. So performing arts is where I express myself the best. And just relationships. She's a relationship builder. She's a friend that becomes family. She's a whole smarty box of things. She doesn't fold up neatly into any boxes. She's a mother, a wife, multidisciplinary project manager. We can talk about it till the cows come home.
till the cows come home. I thought that was an American. I thought that was an American expression. I'm so glad that it's international.
Not at all. Because they go and have their grass wherever in the mountains, and it's a thing because children are raised, especially young boy children, some girls also as well, depending on the family composition. But our parents' generation, more especially, and maybe some of ours, maybe still living in the more rural areas, they go and they take the cows out vroeg in the morning before school, before they leave for school, at the crack of dawn. Sometimes they want to stay there with them at the mountains, not go to school, sacrifice their education sometimes. But those who are allowed to go to school, then go to school. But on their way back home, they must come back with the cows at the end of the day. So I really thought that it was African.
Well, that's funny. In the America, I'm in Arizona, but in the American West, the only currency people had in the early days when they were settling here was horses and cows. And the horses were your transportation, but the cows were your wealth. And there was they didn't have a lot of fences. And so no one was allowed to eat dinner until the cows came home. So that because all of your, to make sure that they were in their corral. And so, so I guess I'm sure that India thinks that they have that phrase until the cows come home, since they're the sacred beasts. Anyway, I think that it's wonderful to have you here. You say you tell a story in any way you can, and I see you're telling the color story of alchemy with your outfit. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, and alchemy was before science, the practice of thinking that you could, do things. And one of the things was to make gold out of lead. And the stages in that is that the lead starts out black or dark gray, okay? And then it turns red as you heat it, and then it turns white, and in the end it's gold. And when you wear red, white, and black, it makes your skin, for all human beings, look gold. It makes the skin look just alive and vibrant and the most valuable thing. So even in your outfit, you're telling that story.
I'm taking notes. I will do this more often. It was not intentional, but I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, look at pictures like fashion pictures and things, and you'll see that no matter what kind of coloring you are, even somebody like me, if I had red and black and white around me, I would appear more golden, and not so much like a ghost. But anyway, now in our script, are we on our script now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Adele,
so in our script
what do
now,
you think? Do you know anything about cows coming back from whatever that is, and fashion, whatever? I don't know anything. I mean,
until the cows log into your Facebook account for you young people.
Adele, do you know anything about that, or do you want to welcome our guest?
This is just new to me.
It's hard to hear you.
I'm saying I know nothing about that. I've just learned something today. Yeah.
But do you know about fashion, right? Do you know anything about fashion?
No. So I'm eager to listen to more, but oh well.
Yeah. Wow. Well, in that case, then that's fine. I think we're gonna. I have a video from you, T-loh. And I cannot wait to play that video.
But you're gonna have to wait because
okay, all right.
You always do this, Lungani.
All right.
I want to hear about your week because something very important happened this week. Okay, I would like you to articulate what happened to you this week.
Oh, he got me. Oh man, he got me. He got me again. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be very short. My week was okay.
He's lying.
My week was okay. Well, it wasn't that okay, but it was okay. I was working like 12 hours, watching people celebrating their New Year's Eve. But I was, I was working. I was a camera operator, and it was snowing. unfortunately, and it was raining before that. So I really got a cold, and I was thinking that today I'll get sick, but fortunately I didn't get sick because I decided to be a smart young man and soak my feet in hot water. So, but yeah, it has been very busy. We're preparing for the articulation, a project that you know, a lot of wise women and men are gonna be part of it. And you know what? I'm not gonna talk about that right now because probably next week it's gonna be a huge surprise. I know there's a lot of people who are watching and they are part of it, and they are so excited to get it going and starting. It's gonna help a lot of communities, not only in Africa, not only in South Africa, but a lot of communities, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of things that touches on community issues, social ills. And you know, as human beings, whether you're from Australia, New York, you know, wherever you're from, we face the same things. Even if you wake up, even if your 6 a.m. is a different time zone for me, but sometimes you feel the same way when I wake up in the morning. And sometimes you face the same issues when I wake up in the morning and start facing, you know, the day and facing the world. We go through the same bullying, we go through the same challenges, we get hungry, we want to get food, we want to work on some. So it's a lot of you know, a lot of things are involved, and it's so powerful. And I have a powerful panel that's going to be participating in this project, so I'm really, really excited about this. But yeah, that's it for me. So can I play the video now?
Yes.
Right, let's have a look at this video from our special guest, T-loh. And yeah, I think it's you know, related to African Thunder. And yeah, we're gonna be talking about that more later on. I don't want to bust the bubble before you guys call me talk too much. Let's play this video. When we come back, we talk some more. This is the Global Sunday, and you are with T-loh today. If you have questions, drop them below, and so attend us soon. We'll be right back.
What's your gift? What do you have? What are you bringing to the table? What's your contribution to African storytelling, to the world? They must know Africa is awakening. If you look around us, Africa is awakening. So
I'm part of the group here, T-loh, the African Thunder, whereby I get to soprano. Guys, ngicela nifike mhla ka-20 nizojabula kanye nathi-ke kube kumnandi kakhulu guys, ngifike namakhula box ekugcwala indawo, kube happy, kube mnandi, sonke siphelele sonke. Ngicela nifike nisupport T-loh.
Hello, this is T-loh, the Lion Queen Omhlanubanzi. I am your Nubian gypsy, and I'm the lioness behind African Thunder. Sila 8 Deni, rehearsing in studio for the unplugged session on the 20th, as you can hear. So the style of music that we've worked towards, ngithanda music or capturisha ubuciko bamaZulu base Africa. Ngizalelwe emndenini half owesiZulu, half owesiswati. Ngiyafisa nokuphuma kwamanye amazwe amanye ase Africa. Siqale ngeAfrican Thunder, iAfrican Thunder sayixubanisa mawilalela iyaxoxa ama-Africa indlela axoxelana ngayo indaba and pass down the heritage from generation to generation is via folklore. This current song is called Umhlanubanzi. It's made up of ithakazelo zakashangase ekhaya lami ngizalelwa kulona. The whole song chronicles the devastating and amazing things that our forefathers used to do and became famous for. Umhlanubanzi ngokubeletha amakhosi is a poetic acclamation to the strong backs of the mothers who carried the kings in the Shangase lineage as children. And here it goes. Enjoy! So lolu suku is about celebrating, lolu suku esinqumile is about celebrating amagugu ase-Afrika. Ngayo yonke indlela niyibona ukuthi makuhlangene umndeni kuba mnandi kanjani emcimbini makukhona into eyenzakalayo. Abantu abesintu abantu abanesiqu esimnandi abayi-expressa kakhulu ngomusic ngey'nganekwane so besixube sonke. Basically storytelling. We are taking back African storytelling and putting it back in the hands of the African youth. We want to be practicing and perfecting our craft so that and celebrating what we're making with the people. We're involving everybody in the process of that creation so that, you know, as you enjoy it, as you listen, as you see it on TV, you know you're a part of it, so don't miss out. Do yourself a favor, you'll thank me later. Come again, guys.
Welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. I'm gonna toss it over to Adele. Adele. Love.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you're still tuning in. And welcome, T-loh. It's so nice to be interviewing you today. We are glad to have you on the show, by the way. So I have a question for you. I'd like to know, since you were born in KZN in Pietermaritzburg, you moved to Durban for your studies, right? And then when you moved to Durban, you actually got closer to the house of God. Can you please tell us about that?
Where to begin? I grew up in a very sheltered environment. It was sheltered from external, mostly external harm, but internally there was a lot going on. So I've lived at home for my whole life, never went to boarding school or anything. And I was the eldest of 3 kids in the marriage of my parents. There were children before me who are older than I, but in our household, which is really funny, it was always had so many people in it because my mother and my father just really took everyone in and raised them as their own. So when it was time to go to university, they didn't want to let me go. They didn't want to let me go out of the house. They didn't want me to go far from home. They were all worried about the big bad world and so forth, you know. I was the only girl as well, living at home. And I guess they were just really protective. So they worried. My mom often tells me that they worried a lot when I went to study in Durban because I was going to be living by myself and it wasn't going to be all these rules and regulations governing my life. But inside of me, I was hoping that they could trust all they had invested in me as lessons and teachings, you know. And so my mother, she says they were really worried and my father really didn't want me to go. But when I went to Durban, and I started out, I didn't really know many people. I wasn't social or anything like that. We were not the generation of these days where via your phones. I wasn't even allowed to have a phone until after I finished matric, and you could do that at those times because there was no COVID and so forth. Of course, I tried to sneak in a few, but I always got caught, and my father confiscated them. But I did. I went to Durban. And I studied at Varsity College in Durban North for a little bit, but then finances happened, and then it was to UNISA. And while I was studying, it was a bit lonely when it was time for UNISA because there were all the challenges at home, like I said, and finding myself in the big bad world. I was living in a commune. There was all kinds of ladies living with us, a diverse set of personalities, and so forth. Some of us are even still friends to this day. But you can imagine, a group of girls just coming fresh out of school from different areas in the country and province coming together, what mayhem they can face, and also what a solid bond they have with each other. But because of, like I said, the financial situation at home, I really very early had to start looking for work in order to be able to carry myself forward financially. So when that happened, you meet a lot of different people along the way, and you form, like I said, I'm a relationship builder. A friend from work, she recommended one afternoon after work because it was just books, books, books the whole time. Didn't want to let my family down, didn't want to let myself down. I was trying to prove a point that I could do this. And she said, let's go to church. And I came. My name is Nomtandazo. It means she who's one with prayer. That can tell you that I grew up in a very spiritual family, but spiritual from both sides of ancestral acknowledgements, and very deeply rooted in African culture, as well as Christians, but different denominations between my mother and father and my grands. And it was very, very colorful and a long story to tell. But to summarize it, when she invited me over to church and I went there and I experienced, that for myself, because up till then it was my parents taking me to church ngenkani, like mom and grand would be like, drive us to Good Friday in Newcastle or something as soon as I learned how to drive. It was always not by choice. And for the first time having gone by choice, my heart was much more open, and just hearing the word and experiencing that for, I can call it the first time because it was very different. It stirred something up inside of me and made me want to go back again because it was really new, and I had been through all these things that haven't yet started telling you about, but I really I needed something, someone more than what I had in me at the time. And I met the Lord. It wasn't immediate that I realized that it was him, but I did know that a seed had been planted and that I needed to go back and find out what was going on. And that happened until, a process of inquiry began, because now Pentecostal, denominations kind of get frowned upon in families like mine, where ancestors are a big thing, and stay rooted in who you are, and you're African, and consulting with people that are differently spiritually gifted. The being born again wasn't really welcome. It wasn't welcomed by my family so well, because then to them it meant renouncing everything that I had been raised to become. And so that transition was not an easy one, and it wasn't a light decision for me to make. I did a lot of research because I didn't just want to be like Utoli or Wenyuka. As soon as she went to Joburg, now she's living a new life and she's met these new people, and the drill. Now remember my was song, when you Dolly. I didn't want to be that Dolly, and so I wanted to be sure that what I was doing was the right thing, and that it was right for me, and that it there was some truth to it. I wanted to validate what I was feeling, what I was experiencing happen around me all the time. I started seeing things a certain way, and just really getting a closer relationship, to form a closer relationship with God, which I really, really hadn't had prior to that. Although when I look back in hindsight, I can see his handprints all over my life, moving things around in my favor. But it was a completely challenging experience. It followed me right up till, my marriage, when we chose to do things a certain way, and and our parents were at loggerheads with each other, at loggerheads with us, and for as long as you're still our children, you'll make your own decisions in your own house, and you know how it goes. Yeah. But yeah, it was quite an experience. I can zoom further in if you'd like, but I hope I've answered your question.
It's really interesting. Well, because I never talk about my spiritual part of my life, except for the family, of course. Since you guys are family, so I feel comfortable to talk about it a little bit. Um, it's when you talk about your story, it resonates with me because, well, what tends to happen when you are a spiritual person and you live among people, you tend to be this creature that is misunderstood. Nobody would understand exactly, what you are and who you are. I grew up,
Only when I hear it.
you know, I grew up the same way where they were like, what's wrong? I mean, even my biological father, I think I mentioned this before. He had to do a DNA test to prove that this is my child because I was like the weirdest. I was the most weird child from all the children. So, obviously nobody knew what was going on, but as time goes on, they understood that, I'm a gift, to the family, I'm a gift to the community. So, I mean, yeah, it really makes sense. It's like, as you talk about this, it hits me so hard. I relate so much because I know how it feels to try and explain who you are, and everybody's like, "Are you crazy?" I even said when I grew up, I said, "Oh, you know what? As people, we grow up seeing stuff. We grow up seeing things, that we grow up next to, and when we experience something that we've never seen before, we doubt it, without it. If it's a new experience, it's a new talent, a new message, new information, then you're like, okay, I'm not going to be part of that. This is crazy. This is not going to work. I mean, I know a lot of people who are successful and they were told it's not going to work and stuff like that. So it really makes sense. If I go to, if I start talking about the African parenting way, it's gonna take forever. I understand also that too. So
Hey,
I can relate.
nice to our parents, be kind to them, hey? I often think about how, and I tell my friends, do you realize that our parents were our age when they were bringing us up, and we used to look up to them as these big adults who had everything figured out. And there were like 6, 8, 10 of us, and they managed because they were raising their children, sisters, brothers, uncles, everybody was, it was a bigger family, or, it's different for all of us, but I have one kid and he's like 6 kids in one, and I wonder how my mother did it. Be nice to our parents. They got a lot wrong, but they also got a lot right. Look how we turned out.
Yeah. I'm also a spiritual person myself. And hearing your story, I'd like to know, would you boldly say that God showed up for you way before you even knew about him?
Oh, I must tell you, hey, like I always don't know where to start because I'm bursting with stories to tell, and like that question alone triggers so much from inside of me. God has been there the whole time long. You will not believe me if I take you through the things I've seen and gone through as a child, from respect to my family members and acknowledgement in how some of these things are their stories to tell, but they really impacted our lives, sometimes quite deeply and to our demise, while they were trying to figure things out on their own. And, like I said, I was the only girl at home. There was all sorts of things going on around me. There was physical abuse, there was domestic abuse, there was sexual abuse. I've suffered at the hands of trusted people, of family friends, and only now, after my father passed away, we recently lost him to COVID, did everything that I've been sitting on surface and start affecting me. I'm 30, it's a lifetime of all that stuff that I've just been carrying on. It happens and you just carry on because you can't really do much or you trust someone to protect you and they end up being the one, or there's an array of reasons why sometimes there wasn't any help but the help of the Lord, even though you couldn't see him. The fact that I was able to even stay alive till this point, I've made several attempts on my life. There's been I come from a madhouse, and I say this so endearingly because in good ways it was a madhouse, and it shaped me into this, lioness that I'm telling you that I am. But to have survived all of that, I can comfortably say was only for the brave. And when I look back, even today, right now, I don't see myself as brave, but that courage must have come from somewhere to keep going. And I think that it's God. Definitely God. And I always say, I would have ended my life a while ago. I made all those attempts. He didn't let me have that clean exit. So the life that you saved, Lord, is yours now. It's not mine anymore. I took mine, This one is yours, and do with it what you will. So I can certainly vouch for God having been there from scratch. My name being Nomtandazo. My parents couldn't have children for 5 years into their marriage, for also a number of reasons. My mother had been abused and she had lost children while there was a lot. But when I came, they had given up. And my grand took them up the mountain and they prayed. And they prayed for a child, and they got a little baby girl. From that time, while I was still a thought, not even a clot in my mother's womb, God has been there molding me, crafting me, ordering my steps, turning everything that the devil intended for evil into my good, Certainly, the answer to your question is without a doubt.
There's so many stars in the sky at night, and there's no city around. You see all of those stars, and every single one is a point of light. It's an origin of life. It's a sustainer of life. And each individual is like that. I've only just met you today and only through Zoom, T-loh, and also Adele. Every light that God creates has its duty to shine that light on some part of creation, some part of the challenges of life. I've always found it very unfair when someone tries to direct your light in a particular way. Your light is a gift of God, and you alone can shine that light. And it's not up to somebody else to tell you where or how or anything like that. I was raised in a very, very strict Catholic family. And early on, even when I was in the crib, I had a different spiritual guidance. I had a different spiritual awareness. And I had to mostly remain silent, but then I can really relate, when you said that when you went into that church and you found that you didn't know what it was, but you knew it was something that had a life force in it. And because you had to suppress that, and done all the behavioral, behaved well and done what your parents wanted you to do, the moment when that light in you, when you find it and you can shine it on your own without somebody trying to guide you or even shame you, it's a beautiful moment. And I'm so glad that you found it. And all of you young people here on this show have found it so young, so very young. Looking at the specifics then of your life, T-loh, if you had not grown up in Pietermaritzburg, and gone through everything you've described, and we're going to get into it a little bit more later because it's so much part of your story, but what qualities in life would you have missed? If you hadn't had all that pressure, you'd still be a lump of coal, but you're a diamond. So what would you have missed if you hadn't had that Pietermaritzburg upbringing?
You know, it's difficult to say for certain because, and hear me right, because you can't possibly know from everywhere else what you're missing out on, or whether what you recognize as a Maritzburg trait is a trait of somewhere else. But among many things, what does stand out for me, Maritzburg is quite a relatively small town. People kind of know each other. I was raised by public servants. My mother was a nurse, my father was a prison warder, and nurses countrywide all either come from Edendale, from their generation, which is the hospital that used to train them. So you are the child of someone, or the sister of someone, or the friend of someone from school. There's certainly a spirit of community in Maritzburg. Can't speak for the whole of Maritzburg. I lived in Westgate. But the experience of being first a child raised in these two different families, being a school girl, primary, crash first primary, high school, after being, friends with people, going to town to catch taxis. There certainly is a sense of community at the time, where people know each other and want to look out for each other. People didn't pass you by if you were in trouble where I grew up. They stopped and helped you if your car was having a problem in the middle of the road. They'll get out of their way, maybe coming back tired from work himself on foot. Get there, call others as well to come help you. I remember times when I was given taxi fare and I ate it at the tuck shop at lunch. I spent it and I don't have money to go home anymore. You could go to the taxis and you could ask them to take you home. You've lost your money. I mean, that was mischievous, menacing, childhood menacing, and being dishonest and never do it again. But I mean, those are part of like the memories you can cherish. They've never been a hostile community. It's never been a hostile place to live. Until recently, and still I wouldn't call it hostile, but there's been so many brutal murders lately that I just wish, people would reconsider and not, commit. I wish that everybody would go back to the days when, kids used to come out and play in the street together, where we all looked out for each other. If you saw something you thought was shady, you reported it to the police, or you get help for someone you think are in an abusive relationship or whatever. Sometimes people didn't like it because everyone was in everyone's business. But I know that neighbors could go to each other and ask for salt if they'd run out of salt, and onions if they didn't have onions to cook dinner for their children. I know that our mothers had a time where they used to do the groceries, one set of groceries for like 6 families, a sack of potatoes, tray of tomatoes, a bunch of meat and whatever else. And they'd get home and they'd split that food amongst equally themselves because, we didn't all have the same means, or some were better off than others, and so forth. It used to be that community. I remember it, and I choose to remember it as that community where you really were never alone, and it did take a village, to raise each other's children up. And you didn't just belong to your parents. The walls were not so high as they've become because of a number of reasons as well. I don't know that this is not the case elsewhere in the world, but it really, really stood out for me as a Maritzburger. Like if you went to Alexandra High School, then that's like, I don't know, or Girls High or whatever. Like if people went to the same school as you did, it can be an old man and a young lady. That is grounds for them to be mates for life. That's grounds for them to start a conversation and get to know each other, People in the taxi spoke to each other then. They didn't just like keep quiet on their phones until they got home or something like that. It really, there's a tangible spirit of community. I pray that it comes back.
Adele, before you say something, because I know, I know everybody wants to say something, but when you talk about, how you grew up when you were young, especially in South Africa, how parenting used to be and how connected families used to be, neighbors, and I remember there was a time where, if you were young and you would be found doing something wrong on the street, everybody would be your parent. Your parent would be my parent. And if they beat you up, you never say anything, because if you go back home and say, so and so beat me up, they will say, what did you do? And they will beat you up even more. So yeah, I just wanted to add on that before Adele. I know Adele wanna say something, and Mr. Danny wanna say something, but I just wanted to add on that. It's so amazing, and you just took me back into those days where, life was kind of like real, like real. Anyways, Adele, I'm sure you have something to say.
No, I just wanted to say that sometimes we don't realize as people that we need change in our lives. So change is sometimes necessary, but we don't realize how much change can do to our lives, how much moving from one place to another or from one country to another can actually do to our lives. So yeah, change is inevitable sometimes, and I think we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard though.
Yeah. Well, oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. I was just saying, Lord, increase my faith.
Yeah. How we grow up, it really does, change you, and it shapes you. You were talking about being raised by civil servants. Well, what that gives you is a sense that if you are in a position of civil service, you have obligation, not just what's written in your job description, but you have an obligation to your community. It also having that sort of parenting from all sides, and those connections of in your education and all of that, it makes you feel part of anywhere you would go. The base understanding of self is that I am related to these things around me and these people around me, and I have an obligation to them, and there is some kind of obligation that they have to me as a community, not as an ego. And I can see that in your work very clearly. I wanted to circle back though to something that it was a very, very transformative part of your life. And as Adele has just said, things really change you. And there was a time you mentioned briefly that you were very focused on the church. You were discovering yourself. You were discovering your light and how to shine it. And then you were also studying. You were away from home. And then your family ran into financial difficulty. The kind that can't be ignored, the kind that requires work for everybody. Describe the feeling, that moment when you had to, on top of everything else, look for work to not just sustain yourself, as you so humbly said, but to sustain your family as well.
Before I describe the feeling of how it felt, I'd like to first describe the situation and how it happened. My parents were going through quite extensive marital problems at the time, and they had very good wishes. They had best wishes for us all. Varsity College is a private university. It doesn't just cost a little bit. It's quite upper echelons, and they really set out to equip us all for success, and they gave their blood, sweat, and tears to it. But when the time came and I had to drop out of varsity college and go into UNISA, and then we had to start looking for study loans, for accommodation, because now where was I going to live? We're in Durban, the schools are in Durban, and going home is not an option. You must finish what you started. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy changing lives. It wasn't easy adapting. But more than anything, what I now realize I wasn't aware of at the time, my mother had worked herself into quite a bit of debt. And raising us all. And like I said, they weren't just raising their own kids; they were raising, people from the street who wanted to change their lives, former prisoners who came out of jail and their families didn't want them back anymore. They were raising their siblings' kids, and it was all of us as well. And I can't imagine that it must have frustrated my father a lot. He wasn't a bad person, but he was a logical person, which the numbers must add up, and everything must make sense, and quite calculated and logical. So, and my mother follows her heart just like me. If it feels right, do it. See later, then like we'll take care of the ramifications later. So, the course that I was studying was a bachelor's degree. I had passed my matric quite beautifully with, lovely marks and distinctions and exemptions and all this, and, got myself into a Bachelor of Arts in Criminology and Psychology, and, it was very intriguing. I had wanted to do music, before and something in the arts, but we maybe can talk about that later. I had to finish it. I was not going to leave it halfway. My parents had been through too much to get me to where I was. And of course, I still had the point to prove. And now I had God. And I believed in myself that I could do it. So what did I do? I've got quite a number of talents. I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but I used to be able to do people's hair. I used to be in the catering club at school. I was never sporty. It was always like cultural stuff and debating, intellectual, cultural things, and the drama club and so forth. So I looked around me and I decided, what's in your hand, girl? So I was part-timing at a hair salon, all at once, by the way. And then during the week, it's school. In the morning, I used to wake up and go to school from 8 to 12. I used to study, and then from 1 to like 10 p.m. I was a waitress at Spur, and like minimum wage at the time was like 11 rand 33 cents an hour or something, negligible and so forth. So we really used to live with the tips. And then also, I got myself a job for weekends, driving the family car for a funeral parlor. This always makes people laugh at me because I tell them about how at people's funeral that I didn't even know, like part of my job was to like give out water, and I'd end up crying with the people burying the person that they love because I just couldn't be around people and not feel, what they were feeling. And then I get these weird questions like, did you touch dead bodies and so forth? But no, I used to drive the family car. I was a driver for the funeral parlor, and of course handing out sweets and water and tissue at the grave sites and just making sure that everybody is okay. So weekends it's the funeral parlor and salons. Weekdays it's work in the it's school in the morning and work in the evening. And I used to have to walk from Spur to the commune in the dark, and you pass a park. And remember, I told you I had a history of sexual abuse. Now there were some homeless people living in that park. Every evening when it was time to go home, I used to say a prayer. But that's just like a detour that I had to take. But all these things, I think it was 3 jobs all at once plus school. For a while this went on until I went to, I think there was a career portal at school, and they were looking for, young graduates or people in the university to hire part-time and do, admin or whatever else. And I was hired to do a part-time admin job for a recruitment firm. And the money that I made there, it was like enough to take away these 3 monies from the other places. It was so funny because it was 700 rand, but it's you look back now and it was like millions at the day. I remember one day the bonus came in December and we were at a wedding, and the SMS came in, and I left the wedding and I went to the car with my husband. Well, he was my boyfriend then, but he's my husband now. And I cried and I prayed and I said, thank you, Lord. And that bonus was like 11,000 rand. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen so much money in my life. It felt like millions. But anyway, so when I was making that one salary in that one place doing that part-time job, that money and that work and those hours were more suitable to me being able to walk to say my goodbyes at the other piece jobs and now focus properly on school, you know, because that also had been now lagging behind because I wasn't sleeping enough hours in a day and all that jazz. So it was a very interesting journey, and it's so funny today and poignant and serendipitous that on this platform you should ask me about it, because my colleagues, when they learned about my life and how I've been, you know, getting by, they used to say, that sounds to me like a success story. One day you're going to be telling it to people, and, you know, just the not giving up. I used to be tired. I used to don't even have enough clothes to wear. You know, at varsity, it's all about looks and everything, and, you know, fitting in with the crowd, and, you know, teenagers being, you know, it guys and it girls and so forth. And meantime, you just want to be meek and you've just met the Lord and you're all still a little bit confused because at home, like I said, they don't want to hear about this. But isn't this a good thing? You know, so there was all of that conundrums happening inside my head and inside my heart and around me. But everyone was very proud of all the effort that I was making, and I know God was as well, which is how He's carried me through. And that job, the one that I'm telling you about, ended up shaping up my project management career, because it was actually a project management firm, and those directors, that board of directors is 3 men. They ended up becoming my fathers, you know, my mentors in life. They've ended up teaching me, you know, relaying all the knowledge that they collected in their lives and during their career. You know, at some point, I think it was my second year there, I had gotten about like 2 promotions. They decided they were going to take me and pay for my studies towards project management, because I finished the degree while I was working there as well. And then now I was finished, but it was in a different field. And here I'm thriving in the company, and it has nothing to do with what I studied. I've just grown organically. So now they wanted to equip me in the ways of what was being done there. And that is how I became a project manager. So you see how all these terrible things, what the devil tries to throw you flat on the ground, and God lifts you up, dusts you off, and sends you merrily on your way.
What a powerful story. What a powerful story. You know what? I think we should take a break. Let's take a break. And then if you are watching at home, remember you're watching the Global Sunday Show. Today we have T-loh, and she's sharing a really amazing story with us. You want to send me a comment, send a comment below. You have a question, I can see. There's a lot of people who are saying a lot of things on the comments below. Send a voice note to +2 779 4077. If you are my kind, the kind that doesn't want to type a lot, that just want to speak, you can send me a voice note on WhatsApp +2 779 4077. I can see they call me talk too much already. You know, you know what? I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna play a video. We take a break. We come back. We talk some more. People like about T-loh are people that we normally have, part 2 for them, because their story you cannot cover in like 2 hours or 3 hours or in a day. So we're definitely going to have a part 2 with her. But yeah, I'm going to come back and read your comments. I know there's a lot of comments that I have here on YouTube and Facebook. But for now, let's watch this video. Later on, also, I'll be playing a video from T-loh, so you can, get to see other things that she does today. So, yeah, stay tuned and keep sending me those comments. And I will see you when we come back. I'm just going to play a video by Princeton. Eti, welcome to Durban. Because I know. And T-loh, I'm definitely sure that T-loh is going to like this one. She's going to love this one because, Durban is a beautiful city. And I always talk about this. And if I start talking about this, they will say, oh, Nangoge, Mr. Talk Too Much is telling us a story. I know. Hey, guys, Durban is beautiful. And I've seen a lot of videos on the news, online, showing Durban, and they never show the beauty side of Durban. So this is an opportunity or a platform for us to show how beautiful Durban is. The Global Sunday, Lungani Kuala. This is Princeton. Welcome to Durban. I'll see you when we come back. Boo, 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 boo.
for it's on me. You ain't gotta stress cause you're VIP. Penthouse suite, fresh white sheets. Whatever you like, girl, it's your treat. Shotgun in a guinea. Hit the beach in your tiny bikini. Mix your right, cow skin vibe. Swim with the sharks, baby, it's alright. Girl, you're looking fly today. In every kind of way. Muscally falsetto. Let me take you to the ghetto. You could be my tidal wave. Take me away. Girl, what you say? It's a beautiful day. Welcome to Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Welcome to Durban. Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Pop champagne, no pity. The sun never sets in my city. We can do shots, yeah, life vibes, oyster box, you decide. Life's different near the water. Anything you want, you can order. Copter rides over the ocean. We in slow motion. Girl, you looking fly today. In every kind of way. Muscally falsetto. Let me take you to the ghetto. You could be my tidal wave. Take me away. Girl, what you say? It's a beautiful day. Welcome to Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Welcome to Durban. Durban. Welcome to my city, yeah. Ooh, Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City. Durban City, Durban City. Ooh, Durban City, Durban City, Durban City.
Yes, that was Princeton. It's welcome to Durban. Awuthi ngimnikeze applause. That was a beautiful music video. So now you know, if you're watching, if you have never been to South Africa before, now you know how beautiful South Africa is. So stop showing kids with snots, kids walking barefoot next to the lake, hungry and eating papers. That's not true. Because every country has that part of them, you know, where they're struggling, and they never show it. But yeah, it's one of the reasons why I love this music video, because it shows a little bit more about how, you know, how Durban is and what it looks like. But anyways, I'm just gonna go back to my panel, my lovely, beautiful panel. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. And you know what? I'm gonna toss it over to Adele. Adele.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I have a question for our beautiful T-loh. So T-loh, you released an EP in 2020 called African Thunder, right? So I just want to know more about it. Tell us more about it.
Sorry, I'm getting some feedback, but I did hear you. Not sure if everything is okay on your side. African Thunder. African Thunder is basically the roar. It's the roaring of a Zulu Lioness. She's roaring about having traveled a journey, you know, lions and being nomadic and just the length of the journey, even as I've described it to you, I've summarized the summary, but even in that you can tell that there was always a lot going on at once, and just those pearls of wisdom, the opportunities that we haven't been used to learn, the interactions with people, And, you know, the realization that all of this beauty, like Lungani has been saying, hasn't been accurately captured, encapsulated, and shared with the world very accurately. African stories, for the most part, are told by, you know, sometimes people who are not even in them, just because they've got maybe further reach, a bigger audience, more resources to do so. Winston Churchill said, "History will favor me, for I wrote it." So there are different kinds of documentation, and different nations and different people document their heritage and their history in various ways. How Africans do it, and it's been argued that they don't document very well. You know, I grew up in a Zulu family. My mother is Siswati and my father is Zulu, but they both spoke Zulu, and so we were raised in a Zulu kind of way. Growing up and coming of age, being born, living, looking around you, all around you, stories were being told. They were being told by songs, they were being told by hymns, they were being told by war cries, they were being told by figures of speech. They were being told by our clan names. Do you know that your clan names, for your surname, they are chronicles of your ancestors and the lives they've once led. The ones that make it to becoming your clan names are the ones, excuse me, please, are the ones who did prominent things that stand out, that stood out, and led to a person becoming famous or infamous for maybe doing something very well, doing something repeatedly, or doing something out of the ordinary, or challenging the status quo, like Mr. Laden's mother. Those stories get told in church, they get told in ceremonies when the family comes together. You know that Africans are a very festive people. You know, they like eating and drinking and singing and celebrating. And when it's time for mourning, it's the same thing. It happens through music and, you know, community and being together and, you know, crying together, holding each other's hands and so forth, you know, together in unity and in reliance to the spirit of Ubuntu. So African Thunder is my first attempt, and one that I can say is turning out pretty well. When I look back at the time that I was creating African Thunder, it didn't happen alone. You know, there was always people around me and supporting me, and that I was bouncing ideas off and, you know, expressing my heart for what I wanted to do. But its purpose is to tell those stories to the world and maybe see if we can't have an impact how the world sees Africa, because you know, we've had big stars from before our generations, you know, big artists, big performers, big philanthropists, big politicians have come out of Africa, you know, that have shaped the world, that have made news and done profound things. But Africa has been through a profound struggle, you know, each country in its own different right. And out of all that struggle comes the stories that I want to tell. And I'm hoping that with our people that we are telling them with, because I'm not making it a me thing, I'm making it a community initiative. I'm making it something that everybody can contribute towards. You know, heaven knows I can't tell all of Africa's stories. There are places I've never been. There are people I have never seen, you know, do what they do. I want to tell them in a way that is truthful and authentic and honest to those people's realities. And so what better way than to involve them and consult them and you know, hear their side of the story, hear the narrative that they want to push, because Africa right now and maybe in the past, more than now, has really been viewed as subdued around the globe, and for valid reasons. But I wanted to contribute firstly towards, you know, preserving the colorfulness of our culture. Because in Africa, in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban or Pietermaritzburg or wherever you are, you look around you and people of your descent are slowly just moving away from those which should be our roots, and for different reasons, no judging or anything. But I'm saying, as far as I've come, I've seen a lot, I've heard a lot, I've learned a lot. I want to share it with the world. I want you to be with me when we do it, so you can tell them your side of the story, or tell me if you don't want to do it yourself, how you would like that story told. Let's work together. Tell me if I'm doing it right. Critique me continuously. Is it accurate? I've looked this up. This is what I found. Is it the case? And things like that. So those are songs. They are 5 songs that I've picked up along the way, either in church or at a coming of age ceremony called Umemulo, or at a pre-wedding celebration where families exchange gifts called Umembeso, because marriage is a process in isiZulu and in many African cultures. You don't just propose and get married. The game is changing with time, but how it used to be done and how it's still quite widely done is that there's a process, due process, that's followed to ensure that the two families get to know each other, and even the lovers get to know each other before they commit to such a lifelong commitment. There's festivities involved in that. There's gifting each other. There's even sometimes what is it? The word is running away. But when you taunt at each other and you just want to get on each other's nerves to test the willpower and the strength and how far you can push the other family, and to try and determine also what recourse these children in the elders' eyes that are getting married will have if things don't go well. What kind of support will they be receiving from this side of the family? What kind of temperament can they expect from that side of the family? Are they sure what they're signing up for and that they really want to do this? I guess there would be a number of reasons, some of which I'm not privy to, but African Thunder, its heart and core, is merely about telling African stories. And like I said, I was born and raised in a Zulu family, partially Siswati, and those are the ones I have on me right now, and those are the ones we've begun with. But there are certainly many, many more, loading, which are being influenced and impacted. Even the ones in African Thunder have many people that could have told them. They speak for, thousands, if not tens of thousands. And that's all I just want to do. I want to change how the world sees Africa. Africa needs the world needs Africa. But I want them to not see Africa in torn, shoddy, beggar clothes asking for handouts. I want them to see Africa in her royal state, with her chin up and her chest out and, strutting her beady skirts in the wind. I want them to see the Africa that survived all of her afflictions. I want them to see the Africa who called on, her higher beings and who nurtured her children. And many are wanting to run away from Africa. Even South Africa is governmental, political, crime, all kinds of everything. And that's even storytelling, which has a kind of negative impact on Africa and how the world sees her. But I want to make my contribution and equip those around me to join me in making their contribution towards, encapsulating all of that good and all of that bad, and just speaking it, singing it, acting it out accurately and according to your lived experience, so that what the world is getting is the truth, untainted, uninfluenced. I'm really, really hoping that along the way it doesn't get to a place where, whatever circumstances cause a person to be silenced or to lean towards a certain direction. I want to tell you the good and the bad as it is, but I want you to be able to, in that, see Africa for who she is. And I want people who are not African to want to be African. I want Africa's children to wear their Africanness like a badge with pride, and not have it like be a disadvantage or weigh them down in any kind of way. And I can't do that single-handedly. It's a big undertaking. And it didn't start with me. Like I said, there were, Baba Huma Sigelas and Baba Mbongeni Ngemas and, Mamu Tunamshopes and Mamu Miriam Makebas. And there was a lot, there was Soul Brothers and Lady Smith Black Mambazos. They ought to be even more lauded than we are when we make these accomplishments, because they did it in a time that really didn't allow them. Now, wouldn't we be failing them if we let all their hard work just, die with them when they die or anything? We ought to be the people they can pass those batons on to. And I know that we're not all called for the same thing, but I feel like it's what I'm called for. And so I'm going to make that contribution to the world. And I hope that it's meaningful. That is what African Thunder is.
I think it's extremely meaningful. I was very lucky in 2004 to be invited to work on a project that I won't go into any details, but as a result, I met a Zulu daughter who was a congresswoman in the United States. Her name was Congresswoman Carrie Meeks from down in Florida. And on the brochure for the exhibition that this project produced, she wrote the quote, "Until lions develop historians, the tales of the hunt will always glorify the hunter." I think about it, that's from the Zulu culture saying. You said, Africa's criticized for not documenting, but that's the exact opposite of the truth. Here in America and the West, we've documented and documented and documented so much that the only people who actually know anything about our culture and our past are scholars in academia in a little isolated bungalow away from all of society. And then they write books that nobody reads. In Africa, and I have to say that the way it was explained to me when I was a boy is that all people on the earth came from Africa. All of our ancestors go back to Africa. And one person said, you have to be very, very careful if you go to visit Africa, because everybody ultimately returns home. And if you ever visit Africa, they told me when I was a child, you will be home. And once you've been home, you will never be able to completely leave home. And that is absolutely true. But what I just wanted to say that, your tribute to the list of names that you just said, I am so blessed that I know almost all of those names, and I've even met some of those people. But the way that African Thunder represents, and I don't mean that like stands in front of, I mean lets people see and get to know, really does encapsulate this incredible living richness of heritage, as opposed to heritage being something you study in a book that gets dust on the shelf, And so I think it's wonderful what you did. And, I hope that you have, not just African Thunder, but African Lightning and African Windstorm and African Avalanche and African Tsunami, because it's got to happen.
Wow. I am, lost for words. Thank you. Thank you very much. I wish you knew how much that meant to me, to hear and see, because I know that you mean it. Thank you very much. It's my heart for what I'm doing. When I communicate with the producer, UKD RSA, who does the beats and helps me arrange the music and makes suggestions and loses sleep and here with me, when I tell my husband about this thing in my head, when I carry it out, I want it to be true, and I wanted to move people, and I wanted to make them feel whatever, good or bad. We all have, different tales to tell. But to hear you say that, and also in relation to people that I hold with such high regard, may their souls rest in peace. Yeah, wow, thank you.
Yeah, I have a lot to share, but you know, I think I'm gonna let Adele say something because I have to um, check on people who are watching at home for a little bit, and then also play your video. I think we going to ask you like maybe one more question when we finish with the video and finish with checking on with people who are watching at home. And I know I have a call from Mr. Ramawota. I just want to say hello and Happy New Year. He's very touched about the conversation that we're having. But Adele, do you want to add something or do you want to comment on something before we watch the video and come back and talk to people who are watching at home? I think you are muted.
You're muted.
Sorry.
There you go. I can hear you now.
I have a question. I just want to know from all the songs on your EP, which one is your favorite and why?
Pardon?
From the songs on your EP.
I think she's asking your favorite song from the EP.
Oh yes. Okay. My favorite song in the EP is Uyeza. It's Uyeza for very special reasons. First, I'll tell you about the song. Uyeza means he or she, they are coming. It's about a Zulu maiden who has been waiting for the longest for this moment where the elders of her soon-to-be husband, her lover at the time, come home to her home to negotiate with her elders for ilobolo and, what they're asking and their blessing for them to give her lover her hand in marriage. So she's recounting, that scenario where all the aunties and uncles have come together from far and wide, cousins who haven't seen each other in a long time, they here, and it's for a happy reason. Everybody's chopping, Some other ones are slaughtering the cow, the other ones are Zulu dancing in the house. Some other ones are telling each other their tales from since they last saw each other. The village is a buzz because this big exciting thing is happening, and Intombi Yakashangase is getting married. Now remember I told you it took a village, so you've got that much parents and that much siblings and that much neighbors and that much people who are vouching for you. They've seen you grow up before their eyes, they've cheered you on, and now your time is coming and they want to get you ready for marriage. They sit you down and it's done ceremoniously. There are very specific ways in which it's done, to, I guess, observe how our forefathers used to do it. And it's also different according to surnames, but there are, the standard things that carry themselves throughout. Now, that song is my truest heart and my truest rendition of what I've just described to you, because let me tell you another story. When you are trying to share yourself with the world in this manner, and do what I've just finished telling you that I'm trying to do, you also need to consider that there's a business element to it, and that you need to package yourself, and that the industry is shaped and wired a certain way, and there are these and those requirements and these and those considerations to make. So I think about Whitney Houston's words when she used to keep asking, can I be me? Can I be me? Because, the recording label were either making her, take up a certain appearance or sing in a certain direction to nurture what the audiences or the music consuming population, were leaning towards. And at the time of doing that, it made her blow up. She was a sensation of her time. But in the meantime, she had to suppress herself. she had to suppress her upbringing, her background, and what she wanted to tell the world. Now, my manager and husband and the amazing team of people that we have, gathered around us, God just keeps on sending us such good people. I can't even begin to tell you. Like I just, yeah, I want to cry when I think about it. But we have a whole team around us now. There's PR and marketing gurus. There's audio, visual, and content creators. There's instrumentalists, vocalists. There's all kinds of everything, and they are all married to the vision, and we all lifting each other's up, all our brands, and we all leaning on each other and learning from each other's lessons. Now, when they sit me down and they tell me you need to package yourself and you need to look a certain way and sound a certain way for mass appeal so that the people, get their attention first, tell them what they want to hear first, and then when you've got their attention, then you can tell them what you want to tell them. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to get straight to the truth, tell them everything I know. And so, some of the songs I've had to make those considerations, like the clap bang, or pay, attention to the fact that pianos are the ones that are banging, now, and now I must try and make a piano song, and that's like a little bit out of my depth, because I don't want just people to just dance. And like I said, I want my people to move. I want it to be spiritual. I want it to connect you to your higher self and so forth. And so even when it's not about God, even when it's a story, I want you to be able to relate. I want you to close your eyes and see that thing happening. So there were a number of challenges in creating, and we wanted to cram as much diversity as we could into this one EP. And so, because it was supposed to serve the purpose of a demo that we would also take to radio stations and use to market ourselves. So, Uyeza is the one where they allowed me, where they just said, we will not come in the way, do your thing. And I did it exactly how I wanted to do it. And it captures everything that we've spent the last 2 hours speaking about. If you listen to it, if the hand claps, oh, hey, thank you. Listen to the hand claps, the real hand claps. The drum, the significance of a drum in African storytelling. We can talk about that till the cows come home. The vocals, and I didn't have backing vocals at the time, so I was backing myself. So I had to be all those people at once. And we did this in the studio, and it sounds like there's an army of people really celebrating this marriage. And it just gets me so excited because KD is a magician, which is a producer. Really, I'm telling you, I used to say how Tupac, you remember Tupac said, just working with the scraps she was given. Mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. So I call him Mama because I feel like he made a miracle out of the scraps I had given him, because sometimes I was undecided, sometimes I was unsure, sometimes I was second guessing myself. I was going through mental hell because of everything was breaking loose around me. The past 2 years are a story for another day, but I'm sure you can relate in your own individual ways. So that's the song. If you listen to it, just that one song will tell you everything you need to know about me, what I'm out to do, and what African Thunder means.
That's incredible. I hope we can put up a link on our site and maybe down below to where people can go and actually purchase the CD. I think that's a very important thing, because I'm going to go and get one. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, when you have to sing backup vocals to yourself, which I've had to do on several albums as well, if you're singing, I can sing, I can match your pitch, I can do the vocals, I can all that. When you're singing against a recording of yourself, it's like it's like an alien. It's so difficult. I couldn't keep my pitch. And it's like, I can sing in a choir, I can sing a duet, I can sing a trio, but to sing against a recording of myself is nearly impossible. So bravo you that you were able to do that and to get it to be what you wanted. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I hope that track of your EP is the #1 track, and you just tell all those people mass appeal is something that they haven't heard yet.
Absolutely. I know people at home are dying to say something, and You know what? I know we're gonna have a part two for this interview.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a must. We have to. You remember with Spongile Mngoma, we still have a part two with Mam Mhlope. We still have a part two. So 2022, there's gonna be like, oh, there's a lot of twos.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
2022 part 2.
And it's season 2 for the Global Sunday. Oh, okay.
2022.
Wow, I feel like a winner. What day is it today? Is it the first? Yeah.
It's the second.
Oh, wow.
And TGS is going to double all our salaries too, right? 2 times everything.
I didn't hear that. By the way, let's play a video from T-loh. And then when we come back, if you're watching at home, we're going to be reading your comments. So stop dropping those comments right now. We're going to be reading your comments. You have a quick question to ask with T-loh. Please ask it now. You have a comment. You have whatever that you want to say on the comments. Do so, because when we come back from this video, we are going to be checking our social media accounts. And then also, we're going to talk to Mr. Ramawota kafushane nje before we close the show. This is the Global Sunday Show, and you are watching your boy, Lungani Kwala. See you when you come back.
The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, his ways are higher than ours. Yebo, uphakeme. Sanibonani, South Africa and beyond. Kamalamu nomthandazo wakandwalani. Nginkosazana eyazalelwa kaShangase. Yashadela koSibukwane just not so long ago. Ukuzalwa ngowase-Westgate eMaritzburg, KwaZulu Natal. Mangiqhamuka ne-African Thunder ngithi ngifunani, ngifuna ukukhuluma izitori zama-Afrika. Akungabe yami lento, akube yawo ama-Afrika. Ithanda ngifuna kube indundumo yezulu elizoduma umhlaba wonke mabe sibuka senza lento bazoshintsha indlela kade beyibona ngayo iAfrika. Niyayazi ukuthi iAfrika ibonakala kanjani emazweni. Kodwa mina lento esizama ukuthi siyenze la ukuthi sishintshe indlela enibuka ngayo iAfrika. Oma bethu, obaba bethu, omkhulu bethu, okhokho bethu bayibeke induku ebandle futhi bekiwe, that standard, that bar that they've set us high. They fought for us to have the opportunity to raise our bar even higher. So what are we doing? We're changing the way that the world sees Africa.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now I'm on wrist. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready, 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 ready. Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not.
Ready? No, I got on my bando, no. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm cashing up. All my niggas in the street tryna get it off. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it off. This shit, honest, no. Making money, oh no.
Yes, welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. This is your boy Lungani Kwala. Unfortunately, we have to end that show. I just want to make something clear, Gutane. Today we were supposed to interview an upcoming artist by the name of Lucky M, who is a poet. But yes, due to issues with load shedding back in South Africa, we had to give you an interview from T-loh, which I found it very interesting. Yeah, very enjoyable. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we're gonna have to end the show, and we'll see with Ene, we can, have him again, Ulaki M, on the Global Sunday show. We Rising Stars. So what we did is the Global Sunday, we created a show which is called Rising Stars, so that we can accommodate the upcoming artists as well, because they've been crying, they've been crying. They've been, complaining that they're not being given an opportunity. And yeah, so we decided, okay, you know what? We're gonna come up with the Global Sunday Rising Stars. But quickly, I just want to take a few people who are watching and who's been sending us lovely comments. I see on YouTube, Ebenezer. What kind of a name is Ebenezer? That's a really cool name. My deepest condolences. I pray that God comfort the family, as we all celebrate the great women. Oh yes, I think she's talking about Mr. Ken Laden's mother, who just recently passed away. So yeah, sending our deepest condolences. Yeah, thank you so much, Ebenezer. I see Ufulufelo, Fulufelo Hanya Hanya. Hello, great show. Is this the repeat? Yes, we played you T-loh's interview, which is a repeat. And yeah, because we couldn't get hold of Ulaki M, but he did reach to us and said he's having issues with internet because there's load shedding. Load shedding is when there's just literally no electricity in town. So yeah, back in South Africa there's no electricity, but we're hoping that we'll get him back here in a few months or so, because there's a long line of artists who are going to be featured on the Global Sunday. But yeah, let's see what comments we have here, and then I'll just close the show without wasting any time. I see Ulihle Hlapo, it's the same here. Same here. My electricity only coming back now. Oh, so electricity is back. And Mamia Tabi Atene, my electricity only coming back now. And then Lihle Hlapo Yamvumela would say, evening fam, only same here. My electricity just came back. And then we see Lapana, Chidiso, I can't wait for this show. And he's saying we are live. Shout out to you guys, and thank you for tuning in. I think that was a great interview, actually. It was really a great interview. But yeah, I just want to say to you guys, there is a new music video from Lisa Marie. Go look her up. I was hoping Utene today on the show we are going to include that on the news or the entertainment news, but unfortunately we had to play the repeat. So yeah, there's a new music video from Lisa Marie, which is gonna be out very soon. So go and follow her on Twitter and Instagram, as well as TikTok, so you can be updated with what is happening. Soon we're gonna have her on the show, and we're definitely gonna interview her so you can get to know her. And yeah, we gave her a huge warm welcome to Diverse Global Studios. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to follow us, Diverse Global Studios on Instagram, Diverse Global TV on YouTube, Diverse Global Studios on Facebook, and Twitter, as well as a TikTok. Yeah, Mina, I will see you next week on the Articulation Show, and it has been nice to be around here. Thank you so much for commenting, and thank you so much for staying with us. From Lungani Gwala, I am saying bye-bye.
And there was not all these feuds and not